Hey everybody, New Sandwich here, and I want to do a real quick video talking about my monitor setup. One of my buddies, I record from YouTube. His channel's actually right behind me here. He asked me to kind of give a little bit more information about the mount that I have. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that I like, some of the things I don't like, and tell you where you can find this mount that I have. So with that, let's get into it. Okay, well, we will just start with the monitors. On the center monitor and the right monitor, they are both 24-inch Acer 144Hz monitors. That is the GN246HL, I believe. They're great. In retrospect, probably wouldn't get two 144Hz monitors. Either get one or three. Two is kind of pointless, and I have my center one mirrored out to my living room, so it's even more pointless because my TV is 60 hertz, so that has to run at 60 hertz. Now, when I first had this set up, my right monitor was turned at a vertical orientation. I ended up changing that because it wasn't as useful as I thought, and you'll notice that my left monitor is off. That is an old Samsung, I believe it's 24-inch, standard 60 hertz monitor. That's my work dedicated monitor. I'll plug my laptop into there. All the displays are 1080p, so that about wraps up the screens. So let's move around to the back so you can actually get a peek at the mount itself. Actually, before we move around to the back, let me show you some of the customizable positioning that you can do with these monitors. So, as far as adjusting the positioning of your monitor, the big ones are here. You can rotate to a landscape mode if you like. It has the tilt from side to side, and it has your up and down tilt as well. You'll notice that this monitor seems a little bit loose as I'm adjusting it, and I'm going to talk about that in just a few seconds whenever we move around the back. So let's go ahead and just do that now. Okay, we are around the back of the monitor now. Excuse the wire mess. I don't have long enough cables. If you can see it, you can't see it too bad. But I don't have long enough cables for this to really be pretty. Hopefully down the road I'll be able to fix that. But anyway, what we're going to focus on is right here. Here. So here you have the bracket that attaches to the monitor. That's the standard, I forget what the VESA, V-E-S-A, I think is what it's called. Standard mount. This monitor actually didn't have... only had two holes in it. I think only two up here, so I actually had to drill holes and make it so these ones would fit, which was kind of strange, but made it work. So there's your bracket, and that attaches here, and you can kind of see how it swivels. This will go up and down like that. This one, you can actually see swivels this way, and so when you move up to here, this is where things get a little strange probably isn't the right word, but a little different. This screw here will let you do really granular adjustment as to how high the monitor is. So if you have monitors lined up and they aren't exactly straight, you can tighten this screw, or on the other one loosen it so that they balance out a little bit better. This screw, and there's also the same one on the other side, these will actually, it'll keep the monitor from falling off more or less. I don't know, this one I think I do have attached. Yes, I do. So if you don't have these screws on, and in my middle one I don't, because it was stopping me from getting it to the height that I needed it to get to, so I actually took that off. So my middle monitor, if you were to lift it up, it would come right off the mount. I don't know if that's a fault. Personally, I had so many issues with this balancing out correctly that I had to do that, and I just could not get my monitors to line up. Now, I don't know if that's a fault of mine on how I got this thing to work with my desk, which I'll show in a second, or if it's a fault of the mount, but either way, it was a little frustrating for me, so I kind of had to do a workaround to get that working. And last but not least, this guy here will tighten it so that it doesn't slide along this beam. This lets you slide it left and right, so you can have a space between your monitors, not have a space, whatever. And that's really it. That is the same thing on all three of them.
One thing that I do not like is that on the bracket, because these can, like I said, these can turn this way as well. There's no way to tighten, at least that I could find, there's no way to tighten the tension on how stiff that is there. I believe, yeah, there's just like a little plastic cap in there. Yeah, so there's a little plastic cap in here, and I thought maybe it popped off and there's a screw underneath there, but there isn't. So you cannot tighten or adjust the tension on how this rotates, which if you have any kind of pull from your wires, that can be a problem, because over time it can try to start going this way a little bit. So I mean, if you have if you have your cables managed correctly at the right length, it's not a problem, but for me that is an issue. So I thought I'd mention it. So I'm going to move around to the back here, a little bit further down, as to how this thing actually attaches to my desk. And immediately you're going to look at this and be like, what is going on here? Because things got a little crazy when I got this. So let's just start with these 3 holes here. These let you, depending on how high your desk is, they let you adjust so that it will rest snugly up against the bottom of your desk to support it. Now, my desk has a pretty long back on it. It actually, you can see it goes down quite a bit there. None of these holes were going to work for me. So I actually had to use a Dremel, and you can kind of see the marks right here. I had to use a Dremel to cut a hole through the back of my desk and put this mounting bracket in there. What I didn't think about when I did that was that there is no wiggle room between these screws. I probably would have liked to have seen them do like one long kind of slot here so that you could adjust it, and maybe using some washers or some other kind of hardware to fasten it more securely. But as it is, you only have these 3 options. So whenever I got done with the Dremel here, I went to put my monitor mount on, and I had a gap here. I was like, I'm not using the Dremel on this again because that was a lot of work. And what I ended up doing was I actually used a coaster, a wooden coaster, cut the back of it so that it was somewhat flat against the back of the bracket here. And I still had a little bit of room here, and I actually used a little piece of a cloth coaster as well to stick underneath here to balance things out. Not ideal. I don't like it. And that is 100% my fault. I should have thought about this a little bit more, but I didn't. So this is what I have. So if you decide to get this monitor, and the link to that, I don't know if I mentioned, but the link to the, not the monitor, the mount, if you decide to get this mount, the link will be down below in the description. Consider that when you're installing it, and also measure the back of your desk to see if you're going to have these same kind of problems, because this is a real pain to get to work, because I have drawers in the front of the desk, as you saw. So I also had to Dremel through a kind of a dividing piece of wood inside the desk. So not a lot of fun, and it was a lot of work. And last but not least, I wanted to show how the, I guess we'll call it the monitor bar, actually attaches to this guy. You can see there's a couple of different holes here, so you have a pretty good amount of options on how high you want this monitor bar to be, and attached by 2 screws here. Pretty easy to get set up, no big deal there. This is hollow in the middle, so you can run cables down it. Kind of a pain if you ever have to move anything. I used to have my webcam through here, and I'd move it so often now that it just wasn't feasible to leave it in there. And they also give you some little clips here for holding your wires down. Ignore my mess over there. I use them when I can. Unfortunately, like I said, my wires aren't super long, so I don't even have the option of using cable management a lot of the time. Something I want to fix in the future, but that's not a fault of the mount. That is a fault of my poor planning. So that's what I think about this monitor mount. All in all, the pros far outweigh the cons. The price is awesome. I think I paid less than $90 for this. Like I said, the link will be down in the description. I'd recommend it. It's great if you just need a way to get your 3 monitors up off of your desk. And I would have liked to have seen a little bit more control over getting, or ability to keep things where you put them with some knobs and screws and things like that. But I'm thinking that would probably bump the price up a little bit more because it'd be a lot more precise. Engineering is not the right word, but there'd be a lot more work involved in the manufacturing of this, which would bump the price up. So keeping it less than $100, this thing's awesome. I really, really recommend it. And with that, I will ask you to like this video if you liked it, and hit the thumbs down if you didn't, letting me know what you didn't like down in the comments, because I'm always looking for feedback. And if you could, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate that. And I will catch you guys next time. See ya!